What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you before I go to work today. Hanging out, trying to get some videos on the docket for you guys. Huge shout out goes to the biggest supporter of the channel right now, and that is Outlast Supply. Go check my friends out over there. Anything you were looking to do, man, they pretty much did it. If I was going to curate a store, it would look a lot like that store. Everything from laser aiming modules to Trigicon optics to survival food and great knives like that. They're doing it right over there. And the people that own the company and run it are great folks. So their morals align with my morals. And to me, that says volumes, which is the reason I was willing to work with them, because I'm pretty picky about that stuff. But today I want to talk about the most important fundamental of firearms, right? Of shooting. The most important fundamental you can have. We can all agree that the successful applications of a fundamentals at a high level is how you become a high-level shooter. That is all shooting at an advanced level is rapid and successful application of the fundamentals of marksmanship and shooting. That's what it is, man. There's no magic sauce to it. Go out, do the unsexy part, ready up, draws, reload drills, malfunction clearance drills, accuracy drills. Go out and do that. Because as long as you can keep applying the fundamentals at an insanely high level, you will be a high level, very proficient shooter. But which one's the most important fundamental? Trigger control, sight alignment, breath control if you're some of the weird people, because it's like breath control has nothing to do with me shooting. All firearms are clear. YouTube, I don't make any money from firearms content. I'm not selling any guns. I have to do that because they keep flagging everything I do. I'm in a safe area of my home, which I maintenance work on firearms. There's Kevlar paneling on the wall because I dry fire down here. But which one's the most important when we start talking about fundamentals? Here's a hint. I guarantee you've overlooked it, either because you didn't realize it was an actual fundamental of what we're doing, or you've never thought of it that way, or you just don't know. All of those are okay. It's the handling and manipulation of the firearm. Rifles, shotguns, handguns. It's not just the handling and manipulation of the firearm. It is the handling and manipulation of a firearm at a subconscious competency level. Nothing is going through my brain as I do these things and drop mags and nothing's going through my brain at all. I'm not thinking about the next step. It is complete subconscious competency on my part for how I manipulate the firearm. Every single fundamental that we have in firearm, your trigger control, whatever, your grip, everything boils down to the manipulation of a firearm. Every single one of them. Because if you're uncomfortable picking this up, your grip's never going to be right. If you can't effectively run the slide on the handgun or lock it back or drop the slide, if you can't effectively do those things, you're not going to be able to reload. You're not going to have good sight alignment, sight picture. You're not going to have decent trigger control. You're not going to have any of those things because you can't work the gun to begin with. It's also one of the biggest tells for instructors on the range. I can go on the range and your level of comfort that I witnessed with how you handle the firearm, even just simple things as how you picked it up, how you did your checks, how you tested function, how you locked the slide, all of those things, your ability to manipulate that at a subconscious level tells me that you're not a beginner shooter, right? It's not possible for you to be a beginner shooter. You may not understand some of the applications when we start talking about making the fundamentals into accurate hits, but you're not a very beginner shooter because you can handle the firearm at a level that makes sense. Even when we start talking about rifles, just you being able to just, just manipulate that firearm, that tells me your level of just competency tells me you've spent some time messing around with that. You've spent time getting better at it. You've spent time making yourself comfortable with handling the firearm, right? Because how do people get injured and hurt when we start talking about training and range days, right? Sometimes it can be outrunning your headlights and attempting to do a skill at a speed at which you shouldn't be doing that skill. That happens, but a lot of times what gets people hurt is very, very subpar firearm manipulation and handling skills. That is how people get hurt a lot of the time. And like I said, if I'm at the range and like I turn and I watch you and I'm watching you struggle on the line, like locking the slide back, dropping the magazine, dropping the slide, using the, using the slide stop, or slingshot method, watching you try to clear a malfunction, they all boil down to a very low skill level of the manipulation and a basic comfortability of the firearm, right? We're not even talking about shooting yet, and I have to be concerned that the very basic tenets of you handling and manipulating this firearm aren't good. You're uncomfortable, which means you're not really safe when you're doing it. It's not talked about very much when we start talking about instructor development or teaching people or stuff like that. It's not something we talk about because we take the skill level itself and the skill itself for granted. I'll be honest with you, like I watched some new shooters on the range a week or so ago, and I was cringing at watching them because you'd see this. And they would never get it done. And the whole time they're doing this, the muzzle's going places, right? We take that skill for granted because most gun guys and gun folks, like, we do this all the time. We just mess around with it, right? So how do we improve your level of subconscious confidence and your level of comfortability handling the firearm safely in a productive manner that allows you to progress as a shooter, right? How do you improve that? It's a very, very simple answer. You need absolutely no ammo to do it. And it is not play with your firearm, YouTube. You do not want to play with your firearm because you'll go blind. Seriously though, you do just need to run the gun. Like that's how we get better. I mean, I do this all the time. I'll be sitting there, and the thing is you gotta be pretty safe about how we do this, right? Grab an empty magazine, take all of the ammo, take it out of the room so it's not in the room with you. There's no way that you can be unsafe with the firearm at that point, right? You can't make an extremely dangerous error because the ability for you to make that error doesn't exist in the room you're in. Now just go and be safe and pay attention to everything you do and how you do it, right? So if I'm sitting here and I come up and I mount the gun, right? I am feeling how that impacted my shoulder, how my cheek came down onto the stock, how my grip worked, right? I'll sit there and I'll run the bolt, right? And then I'll run the safety. And I'll come onto my wall of my trigger. Oh, break my shot. Feel that reset. How far do I got to come out to sit right on that wall when I'm making rapid follow-ups, right? Same thing with a handgun. Lock slide, drop the slide, rack the slide a few times, do the whole push-pull method or the pinch and push. So pinch here, push with this hand. I'll sit there and do that. I'll literally reinsert the mag, drop the mag, insert the mag, drop the mag, insert the mag, drop the mag, insert the mag, lock the slide back on the mag, drop the mag out, insert the mag, drop the slide, dry fire, right? Manipulate and function the firearm. This is an extension of me. I am so comfortable handling a Glock pattern platform that I can just do it. Like everything feels normal to me. Like I know how it's going to work, how it's going to feel, what it's supposed to do, how certain things feel, what they feel like when I do them. Same thing with an AR. And the thing is that I'm not special. Every person you meet that is a competent shooter with a firearm can manipulate and run that firearm. Even smaller firearms, right? It's like this Shadow System CR920. I'll just sit there. I'll just sit there and do this, right? Because I want to know, I need everything about the feel of it, right? I want to be able to do these things by feel, by intuition. in, you know, a subconscious competency. I'm not thinking about anything I'm doing as I sit here and I talk to you right now. I'm just doing it. It takes no brain power to do it because it's, again, it's a subconscious competence level. And in order to get the most out of firearms and shooting, you need to be able to manipulate and run the gun. And that's the one thing that we don't talk about because we take it for granted because we can all do it. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I do this nightly. I will sit nightly in a safe area of my home, in a safe direction with zero ammo in the room so that no bad incidents could take place, and I am in the safest manner I can possibly be. And I will sit there and I will make the firearm do what I want it to do. And I will do that with very little active thought because I need this at a subconsciously competent level. We all overlook it. We do, and it's sad. We overlook it because it's second nature. We don't think anything about the actual, like, you know, the base level 100 stuff. How do you pick rifle up? Safety check said rifle. Insert magazine into rifle. Rack round into rifle. Shoot rifle. Put rifle back on safe. Unload firearm. Put rifle down, right? That is like level 100 training. How do we pick gun up? Make gun ready to fire, fire gun, put gun back down, right? Make gun safe, put gun back down. How do we do that? We take that stuff for granted because it's just second nature to us as shooters. And some of the stuff that I do in my job, so yeah, I'm a cop, I know, spring the hate, I don't care, man. But I teach firearms to new recruits, to guys that have very little experience, to guys that have a ton of experience. I teach firearms all the time. I do open LE range days. Every single Sunday, I have an open standing date for any law enforcement guy that wants to come get more training, show up, bring some ammo, and I'm going to kick your teeth in with drills, and I'm going to push you to the point where there's a failure that's going to happen, either an accuracy or your grip's going to break down. You're not going to be seeing things the way you thought you were, but that's the point, because you can't grow and get better if you never fail. But in doing this, a lot of times I will get very inexperienced shooters. So my county actually sends me, they sent me one of theirs, and she is not experienced. The guns were never a part of her culture, right? Guns are a part of my culture, but I could see it instantly on the range. I was watching her have a hard time locking the slide back. I would watch her not being able to build a grip because she was afraid of how she was squeezing and handling the firearm. I watched her, when malfunctions would happen, being afraid of just running the gun. And that's a level of exposure and usage that we have as gun people that are new to our world don't understand. And I will be completely honest, it is very hard to be patient at the level that's required to help fix that. Not because I don't want to be, but because this is so second nature and automatic to me that we find ourselves, instructors do, find ourselves saying things like, yep, just lock your slide back to the rear, go ahead and get that magazine out, put that magazine back in, drop your slide, go back to work, right? We say that stuff, but you sometimes need to look at them and be like, all right, what I need you to do is I need you to pinch this, and don't try to pull the slide. Hold the slide, take this hand and push this hand away from you, right? Because it creates more leverage, helps you to run the gun, especially if you have weaker hands. We take that stuff for granted, and our new and less experienced shooters that we're trying to bring in the fold, this is a huge area of frustration. Like, just think about it not as yourself, but from the vein of teaching firearms or something, man. Like, you can, I've seen people on my range become just overly frustrated because they could not run the gun the same way everybody else could run the gun. And it embarrassed them, and they weren't having fun anymore. And they didn't learn, like, things shut down. So what's the most important fundamental on the planet? The one we don't talk about because we all take it for granted as gun people. And that's the simple act of manipulating and running a firearm effectively at a subconscious level, allowing us to focus our brain power on actually doing the rest of the stuff when it comes to shooting right. So there you go, guys. That is the most important fundamental, and it's the one we don't talk about, and we need to do better. So odds are, if you teach other people to shoot or you brought somebody new to the range, you've witnessed most of what I've talked about today, and it didn't even register to you because that is so second nature and natural to you. You're like, oh yeah, they'll just get better at it. They will. But in order to get better at it, they need to actually do it. I mean, think about it. How many times have you ran a slide on a handgun? How many times have you locked a slide back on a handgun? How many times, especially my military guys, with a dry gun, have you found yourself sweeping that safety? You can just do it. You don't even think about it. Your new people can't. Your new shooters can't, and it frustrates the crap out of them, and they don't feel like they're doing any better because we're asking them to go over here and paint the Mona Lisa, and they have no idea what a paintbrush is yet. It's the most important fundamental we got. It's the one we never talk about because we take it for granted. So guys, that is the most important fundamental. The subconscious comprehension and competency and manipulation and handling a firearm. Firearm handling is a very real skill set. And we need to start working with people on that, especially our new shooters, so that they're not so frustrated when they come onto the range. So guys, hopefully you found this informative today, and thanks for hanging out with me. Again, huge shout out to Outlast Supply for hooking up with a guy like me and helping me keep the lights on. So guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and until next time, I'll see you later.